Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Mandy, and it's another beautiful day here in my living room. And today I'm going to work on 6 movements of the spine in a hands and knees position. This one is going to be especially helpful for those of you who are further along, especially in that 3rd trimester. And for those of you that carry your babies really low, sometimes sitting down or seated positions are no longer comfortable. And this is also really a great option for those that are pregnant with multiples. So all you'll need today is just a blanket and of course your mat, and we'll get started. So we'll start first in our hands and knees position. So find your blanket, and I have mine folded so it's about 4 times here. And then we'll find our hands and knees. So we'll go to hands and knees. And we'll start in our child's pose. So I'm going to show you 2 different variations of child's pose here, and just find, so we just want to make sure, of course, that our knees are on our blanket. And you can take your knees as wide as you'd like. And I like to take my knees about to the outside edges of my mat, and then start to walk the fingertips forward. So eventually letting the forehead rest all the way to your mat. And oftentimes this pose may feel a little tight to start with, but we'll do several of them throughout class, so you'll kind of notice that you start to open up. But just to begin, and I'd like you to keep your head low, but while I'm talking to you, and just kind of shift your hips gently from side to side. So you can kind of really get into it, really shift your hips gently from side to side. Or you can just stay in this stillness, and that's perfect too. So some of you may be saying, hey Mandy, I'm not able to get my hips down all the way to my heels like you are, and that's okay. So I want you, if you're there, bring your knees back to that hip width apart, and then find wherever your hips allow you to stop, start to walk your fingertips a little bit forward, and then rest your forehead down to your mat. And you can find that range of mobility too. So I'm kind of coming up to talk to you, but I'd like you to keep your forehead down to your mat and just find that maybe shifting hips gently from side to side, if that feels good for you. And you'll know if it feels good. I have my right hip just really needs mobility from time to time. So I kind of continue to move it, and it just kind of helps it so that it's not just getting tight in one spot. I kind of wiggle around. It kind of helps it to open up a little bit better. And just here, and just really starting to notice your breath. So just noticing how your breath feels in your body. Maybe notice if this is the first time in your day that you've really paid attention to it. And again, I have my head up, so if you're looking at me and you see that I have my head up, don't bring your head up. Keep your forehead down. It's just easier for me to cue you if I'm sitting up a little bit. So just find yourself heavy. Find yourself relaxing and letting go here. And just let go. Let your body be heavy. Let your body's weight help you get your stretch. And that's what you need. So you'll get more length in your spine if you can get that release in your hips and really let that length happen. You'll find that feels really good when you can just let go. And take a moment just to be grateful for being here on this mat. Thank you, body. Thank you for taking this time for yourself. It's a challenge to get ourselves here. So the actual class itself, the practice, isn't hard. It's getting ourselves here. So thank yourself. Be grateful that you're taking time out of your day to nourish your body. Your baby appreciates it too. So from here, we'll start to find stillness if you are kind of moving again, and then we'll start to come all the way up to a table. So if you have to adjust anything, go ahead, do that now. As far as maybe you need more cushion under your knees, if you need to fold that blanket again, maybe get a little bit more cushion under the knees. And then let's take our knees and we're going to bring them as wide as we can. So not further than the outside edges of our, or the inside edges of our mat, but just find a nice wide position for your knees. And then from here, we'll take that left hand and bring it right underneath of our face. So if I'm looking right down, I'm looking straight down at the knuckles of my left hand. And then we'll start to open our hearts open towards this right side. We'll start to lengthen fingertips up towards the ceiling. So really start to open up. And if you kind of are using your feet and legs for a little added support, I encourage it. Let's exhale. We'll bring that right hand all the way down. And once you're all the way down, let's switch out the hand. So the right hand is underneath of your eye gaze. So those knuckles are right underneath of you here. And then we inhale and we open up towards this left side. And this exhale brings us down. We're going to do each side one more time. And so switch those hands. And right fingertips reach up, open up, lengthen up. Exhale, we'll lower down. Switch out, right hand underneath of your face, left fingertips reach up. And this exhale brings you all the way down. So you can keep the knees wide and find another child's pose because we're just going to have a little counter pose here. So we just lower the hips down, let the forehead rest down. This is much wider for the knees probably for you. So if you notice it feels like a completely different stretch, that's totally normal. And again, just letting your body be heavy here. And this inhale, start to bring yourself back up. So check in, we're going to find regular table again. So we find those knees right out of the hips. We find wrists underneath of the shoulders. So this is a little modification of cat-cow. So I'm just going to show you traditional cat-cow just in case you need to be reminded. We inhale, we start to bring the chest forward. We exhale, we draw the chest down towards the hips. We round into our spine, we tuck the chin. The inhale, we shift forward. The exhale, we draw the chin in towards the chest. We draw the chest towards the hips, round into the spine. And then we'll inhale, we'll come back to that table position. So I want to show you a different variation of cat-cow, and this one is really nice just if this one feels better for you or just you want something different. So this one, we shine that light in the center of our chest forward. And then on the exhale, we lower hips down towards the heels. Head and neck just goes neutral. And then the inhale, we shift back forward. So once you get about over your hands, that's where you shine that light forward in the center of your chest. On the exhale, we lower hips down towards the heels. On the inhale, we shift back up. We exhale, we really find length here. So you might get a little bit more, especially along the shoulders, all the way to the fingertips. And take it easy for this one. It's maybe your first time in doing it, so take it easy, keep it simple, doesn't need to be anything major. Just make sure that it feels good for you. The inhales, we bring ourselves up. And the exhales, we lower hips down towards the heels. And now that you've kind of done quite a few of these, maybe you can really exaggerate the movements to suit your own needs. Maybe you're not fond of this one and you want to go to the other variation. That's perfect too. So we're going to do this one that we're working on, and on the exhale, we'll just make our way all the way down to a child's pose. So that can be whichever variation that was for you. You can even widen the knees, settle into your child's pose, forehead rests all the way down. And this inhale brings us all the way up. Well, then we'll take that blanket and we're going to shift it towards the center of our mat. We're going to shift it, and I'm going to kind of fold mine a little bit because I want to have lots of cushion underneath of my knees. I'm going to put it right smack in the middle. And then we come to that kneeling position. So we'll just sit onto our heels, those knees about that hip width apart. We find ourselves tall, and this will just be our side-side gait. So we find, again, the knees about hip width apart. We find ourselves tall. We'll inhale, bring the arms up. And then we'll exhale, reach over towards that right side. So find some length along the left side of the body. And then we inhale, we bring ourselves up. So belly gets strong, ground down as much as you need. Exhale, left side. And this inhale, we bring our way up. And we exhale, right side. So just continue your pace, your breath. We're going to do each side one more time after this one. So this time, when you reach over towards that right side, we'll pause here. So find some length here. So we're going to focus on that space from the bottom set of ribs to the hips. So really, if this shoulder or this arm doesn't want to hang out up here anymore, you can always just bring it down, rest it to the top of your thigh or to your buttocks, your side. You can even shift it right to your hips. Sometimes that helps encourage that length. We'll start to engage the belly muscles. I'm going to use my right hand for support and slowly make my way up. And then exhale, left side. So palm down, find that length here. Again, we're focusing on this space here, bottom set of ribs to hips. Again, you can reach all the way over, you can just reach up, you can have that hand to the hip. All of those are perfect. We'll slowly use those belly muscles, draw them in, make your way up. And we just sit up tall. So just to go over with you the 6 movements of the spine. So we started first with that right to left. We did that in this position where we open up side to side. We had our knees much wider than I had them. And then we did those cat-cow movements. So we did those, or this one. And then we did those side-to-side movements. So these you can do in almost any position. I have several videos that shows different positions to practice them from. I encourage you to do these before you begin a practice, or you could just use this all on its own. Sometimes this is all you need just to relieve a little bit of tension, help you to go to sleep at night, or sometimes to help get you up. So these you can do. This one not so easy to do, well, perhaps in your bed, but just know that you can practice this any time of the day, several times of the day, and just find a way to enjoy them. So there's different variations that you can work on if you check out the other videos. And so we'll find, just real quick before we finish up, we'll just find our breath once more. So I have my knees about hip width apart. I find myself up tall, just sitting on my heels. You can go to a regular seated position if you would prefer. And just check in. So just kind of notice what's different, that connection with your breath, those movements. and just how different you feel from when you started. So thank your body for the work that it does in creating this beautiful baby. But don't forget to thank yourself for taking this time out of your day to do something that nourishes your body, your spirit. And let's bring our hands to our bellies and send our babies love and acceptance. We will accept you just as you are whenever you're ready. So thank you very much for practicing with me. I always enjoy it. Thank you.